or we can go back to the Bible and use another metaphor for us here. We are the laborers, called by the vineyard owner to sow. And it is God who provides the growth, God who ultimately produces the harvest. You see, if the meaning of faith gets stuck as some kind of intellectual exercise, as some kind of head game for us, well, then too often we end up relying on ourselves as the source of good and bad, ourselves as the source of what's right and what is wrong. And here's the thing, if all sin, and the Bible assures us that all of us sin, well then at least sometimes then, we're going to end up, if we're relying solely on ourselves to know what's good and bad and what's right and wrong, we're going to be relying on a source that is unreliable. Instead, if we take the meaning of faith, not as something that lives in our heads, but instead of something that exudes from our hearts, from our hands, our shoulders, our feet. Now we rely on Christ's calling and God's assurance of outcomes in line with God's intentions. That mulberry tree that Christ spoke about, it does not end up in the sea because we think it will. It ends up in the sea because we rightly discern that God is calling to us. And we act in ways that bring it about. Again and again throughout the Gospels, we see the local religious leaders that were around Jesus get stuck in this mode of faith as a mindset, faith as an ideology, faith as adhering to a set of prescribed rules. And again and again and again throughout our Gospels, Jesus calls those leaders up short. Not because they were following rules, but because they were neglecting those around them who were most in need of the actions of love. And the action of faith, it shows up all throughout the Bible. Faith is Noah building the ark on dry ground. Faith is David treasury. Faith is the women going to Jesus' tomb to care for him in death, even when they knew for certain they would not be able to roll away the stone. See, all these folks and so many more, they lived into their relationship with God and into the actions that God was imploring them to take in the world. So my prayer for us today is that when it comes to faith, we get out of our heads and instead lead with our hearts and our hands. I pray that we see the world as being ripe with the opportunity to bring love to all, to bring God to all, with concrete and meaningful actions, not merely sentiments. I pray that our faith takes mulberry tree after mulberry tree to the sea. Inch by inch by inch, if we need to. May faith be the driving force behind how we engage with the world and with one another. And may God's love be borne out through our faithful actions. Amen.